بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. فما بعد, my brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu aminu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O you who believe, believe. Now remember, this ayah is coming to the Sahaba, Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, who are the standard bearers of Islam, who are the peak of Iman, who are the role models that we have been asked to follow, and they are the gold standard against which we will all be assessed and judged. And to them Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu aminu. O you who believe, believe. Alhamdulillah, I had the opportunity to listen to a beautiful khutbah by Dr. Muhammad here in Florida. May Allah bless him and increase him in virtue and grant him Jannah. And he made this point in the khutbah which I think is so relevant and valid that I thought I must share with you. Now think about this, that when we look at ourselves, if you say, I want to pray, I want to establish salah, iqamati salah, then what must I do? So there is a whole list of things that we need to do. We must know first, for example, even before we come to salah, we have to be clear and cognizant and knowledgeable about all that it takes to prepare for salah, right? All the masail of tahara, how to make wudu, what is pure, what is impure, the masail of purification of the body, purification of the place, purification of clothes, purification of the heart, all of these which in some cases, without them, salah is not valid at all. In other cases, salah is valid, but it enhances the value of the salah if we know these things. For example, if we do not know how to make wudu, salah itself is not valid. But I make wudu and so on, and I pray, but I don't understand anything about khushu and khudu, about concentration and dedication, and my heart is filled with all sorts of negative stuff and so forth. My salah is valid, but I'm not getting the benefit of salah. I am really not, my salah is not beautiful. It's not being beautified because it's not free from the dunya. It's not free from all the stuff that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like. Yet it is completing something. We are fulfilling a fard that Allah gave us. So therefore, inshallah, we ask Allah for His mercy in any case. But it would be much better for me if I learnt. Now think about that even before salah comes iman. If we take the iman mufassil, we say amantu billahi. So first and foremost is the iman. If you take the arkan of Islam, if you take the pillars of Islam, the first pillar of Islam is shahada. That's how I even enter into Islam. So when something is as important as that this is the difference between being Muslim and non-Muslim, this is the difference between Jannah and Jahannam, then how is it that we believe, and we have been sort of unfortunately coached, that for this I need not do anything. I just say La ilaha illallah, this is enough. Sometimes maybe even that I don't say because I am born in a Muslim home and so on and so forth, and I'm not required to, and I never actually officially, within quotes, took the shahada. Right? It's assumed that I am a Muslim. And inshallah, a person who is born in a Muslim home and a person who is, who grew up in a Muslim home is not necessarily required to formally take shahada. But when we say take shahada, I don't just mean the motions of it. You don't need to go and sit in front of an imam in a masjid and take it. Meaning, do we really consciously, honestly believe? And if we believe, then what is the proof of this belief? What is the evidence that I believe? So, preparing for this. That is the reason why, if you take the 13 years, if you divide the seerah of the Siratul Nabawiyya in the context of its from the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam becoming a Nabi and a Rasul, there is 13 years in Makkah and there is 10 years in Medina. So the period in Makkah is even longer than the period in Medina. And the period in Makkah is including in the kind of revelation that came, the surahs that have been, the Makki surahs, which were revealed in Makkah. They all focus on Iman, on Yaqeen, on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Zat, on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's glory and magnificence. The whole mehnat, the whole effort was on putting the glory and magnificence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into the heart. And that's why the Sahaba used to say, Ta'allam al-Iman, thumma ta'allam al-Quran. They said, we learnt Iman and after that we learned the Quran. And that's the reason why Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu used to say that we believe in Jannah, we believe in Jahannam as if we can see it. And he used to say that if Jannah and Jahannam were actually brought in front of us, or if we were presented in front of Jannah or presented in front of Jahannam, it would not change the status of our Iman even by an iota. Because we already believe. We don't have to see to believe. Yaqeen and Iman means to deny what we see and to believe in what we don't see. That is why the first condition of Iman is Iman bil Ghaib. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this, Alif Lam Mim ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Allah said, the huruf al-muqatta'at, Alif Lam Mim, and Allah said, this is the book in which there is no doubt. And this is a book which is hidayah, which is guidance for those who have taqwa. هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And who are the muttaqeen? The muttaqeen are those who have Iman in al-Ghaib. What is al-Ghaib? Al-Ghaib is the unperceivable, not just the unseen. The unseen, the unheard, that which cannot be seen, that cannot in any shape or form. This is, and not just now, which cannot be perceived today and which will not be and cannot be perceived ever. This is Al-Ghaib. And so therefore, this Al-Ghaib, to have this belief at the level of Yaqeen. Because in the same surah, later on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, here he said, Yu'minuna bil Ghaib. And later on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Allah said, and they have Yaqeen on the Akhirah. Now the Akhirah is from the Ghaib. One of the things of the Ghaib is the Akhirah. And Allah is saying Yaqeen. So yu'minuna bil Ghaib wa yuqinuna bil Akhirah. So people who have Iman and who have belief in the unperceivable, and people who have complete and total conviction at the level of complete trust in the unperceivable. And this comes from the understanding the glory and magnificence. So that is the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu aminu. O you who believe, believe. My brothers and sisters, this is the essence of Islam. This is the fundamental beginning of Islam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to understand this beautiful deen in a way that is in keeping with His majesty and grace. You know, it's very, sometimes we tend to take it for granted, we Muslims. But just think about that. Just look at the people around you. People who are, all kinds of, who are completely engrossed and completely immersed in all forms of disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all forms of zulm. See what's happening in Palestine today. See what's happening in China. See what's happening in different places where people are in the Congo. There is a genocide going on in the Congo. right? And so on and so forth. I mean, there's a whole long list. Now, people are doing all these things. Apparently, they have power. Apparently, they have authority. Apparently, they can kill and so on and so forth at will. But really, if you think about that, these people have been given things for which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no value. In the sight of Allah, there is no, for example, they're given air to breathe, they're given water to drink, they're given food to eat, they're given power and authority, and they're given money, and they're given armies and so on. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had considered any of those things to be important, Allah would not have given a gust of wind, a breath of wind to somebody who denied Allah. They would have just stood there where they were standing, they would have suffocated and died. Allah would not have given a grain of rice, a morsel of food to somebody who denied Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah gives them, because in the sight of Allah, none of this has any value. What has value, Allah gives to those who He values, who He loves. And that is shahada, that is tawheed, that is acceptance before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The highest form of that is to die in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't take the people who are dying in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and think that they are, losing out, and they don't feel sorry for them. Alhamdulillah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for relief for them. Definitely, no doubt about that. But at the same time, we remember the ayat of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أموات بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون. Allah said, do not think of those who are dying in the path or who are being killed in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as dead. They are not dead, they are alive, and they are with their Rabb, and they are receiving their rizq. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if they were asked, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask them, do you have any desire? They will say, Ya Allah, only one desire. Send us back into the world so that we can die again for you, and again for you, and again for you. My brothers and sisters, we live in an upside down world. May Allah have protection, and may Allah protect us. Inshallah, we'll talk more about this. But just now, Iman and Yaqeen. Just now, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, aminu. O you who believe, believe. So let's examine ourselves and say, what is the delta? What is the weakness? What is the deficiency in my belief, which I need to strengthen, I need to straighten out, I need to correct. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla Jalaluhu to give us complete, total iman and yaqeen in Him, and to fill our hearts with His glory and majesty. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.